So what is the ideal number of stocks to hold in your portfolio? This is a tricky one. So when I first started, I was around 16 years old when I first started investing, and I invested in about 3 stocks when I began. 2 of them, random stocks which I thought were good, and one of them my broker had told me this stock was good, showed me some financials and convinced me. Very naive way to invest, but I was 16, I was just jumping in. And I'm happy to talk about my experience investing when I was so young in another video if you guys are interested. But I always wondered what was the right number of stocks to hold. Now shortly after I held those 3 stocks, I started making some returns, and when you start investing, and if you are an experienced investor, you already know this, you start thinking I can do this again. And so I bought more and more stocks, and eventually I had about 30 stocks, and I realized this got completely out of hand. I couldn't follow the market news. I couldn't follow stock relevant news. I didn't know what was happening. I tried to follow every stock using a watch list, but it got completely out of hand, and I just couldn't manage that number of stocks. So I started selling some positions, and it was a bad move. And I learned really quickly that for everyone there is an ideal number of stocks, and that depends on your commitment to how closely you can follow these stocks. And your own personal circumstances, your investment horizon, all of that. But scientifically, well, at least according to the research, the number of stocks that you should hold is around 20 to 30 stocks. But this research is outdated, much like most of the financial research out there. It was done 30, 40, 50 years ago. Right now, there are sort of new developments in finance. So let me go over this. So the idea behind buying more stocks is really to diversify your positions and reduce risk. There's 2 types of risks: systematic risk, unsystematic risk. Systematic risk you can't diversify away. It's related to the economy, it's related to the markets. If a war happens tomorrow, the economy will collapse and your stocks will collapse. You can't do anything about that. You can't buy more stocks to take away that risk. Unsystematic risk, the risk associated with a single company. So if company A goes bankrupt, you still have company B, so you've diversified that risk. You can do this even better if you bought negatively correlated stocks. So in good times when energy prices are rising, your energy company might rise in value. In bad times it might fall in value because people are using less oil, they're traveling less. But people are still going to the hospitals, for example. They need vaccines, they need insulin, they need all these things. So although your energy stocks crashed, your healthcare stocks did well, and you've diversified that risk away. The idiosyncratic risk of that sector, and very similar to that, the idiosyncratic risk associated with the company, you can diversify away by simply buying more stocks. And that's the idea behind buying 15 to 20, 20 to 30 stocks, being able to reach a higher return while still keeping your level of risk low. And again, that's unsystematic risk. You can diversify that away. Now, on the other side is the transaction costs. The more you buy stocks, the higher transaction costs. So when you buy a stock, you need to pay your broker, you need to pay the exchange, you need to pay a bunch of people when you buy stocks. And that transaction cost is expensive. So there's really a balance. The balance between buying more stocks to reduce your unsystematic risk and paying more transaction costs. Your cost of buying is rising. And the optimal number of stocks is somewhere in this balance. And so that's where the research comes in. 20 to 30 stocks, outdated. More recent research, when you take into account like online brokerages which have lower transaction costs. When the earlier research was done, transaction costs were so high, but now it's not the case anymore. It's cheaper to buy stocks nowadays. So because of that, when you account for all that, the number changes. It goes to around 50 stocks, I've read. But my personal opinion is that you should hold around 15 to 20 stocks when you start out, and after that you can optimize. You can see, you can start the way I did, which was 5 stocks, 6 stocks, and then build up as you start getting more experienced. But know that when you have a lower number of stocks, your level of risk is higher, and that's essentially where the point of diversification comes in. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and if there's anything else that you guys want me to cover, I'm very happy to. Just let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video.